Hasn't rained since May here, and I had to water, so this is the update. There's going to be a good crop of chestnuts this year, Chinese chestnuts. Last year there wasn't a single chestnut, but this year they're going to bear. The chestnuts are encased in a little fuzzy protective package, and this keeps them safe from squirrels and things until they ripen. Once they ripen, the package cracks open, falls to the ground and decomposes, and the nuts or seeds become dispersed. Squirrels bury them, and they can only eat one themselves, and they bury the rest in different places. And the Indians, the natives, the people who lived close to the land and worshipped it, called the squirrel the tree planter, because they do that with the nuts. But chestnuts are very good to plant because they provide certain kinds of beneficial flies, lots of pollen, and I think the flies are known as hover flies and some other kinds of pollinating flies that eat aphids and things, I think. I'm not really sure about that, but I know this tree is covered in beneficial types of flies for the week that it blooms, the week or two that it blooms. Some years it only blooms and doesn't bear fruit, like last year. Well, it doesn't bear nuts. Last year, not a one. This year, the trees are bearing. I'm very happy about that. The animals do love them. The bluebirds are actually making their second nest in this box this year. It's July 1st, and there's a bluebird in there nesting. Well, a couple bluebirds. The male and female take care of the nests. I've noticed that in wild turkeys the male sticks around too. The BB trees are blooming, and you can see they're kind of active. They've been blooming for about a week so far. Here's one of the BB tree's flowers, and they're not really getting visited very much because there's something else they prefer, which I'll show you. Well, they're busy on the Vitex negundo. The Vitex negundo is extremely dependable. It blooms from sometime in June, clean up till the frost comes. And even in really dry weather, it seems to survive and provide this nectar for bees of all kinds, as you can hear. Some of the blooms are bluer than other blooms. But it all seems to depend on how much water the tree had, on whether they're going to be on it or not. Very much. I've not watered these trees at all, and we are in a drought. It's so dry that you can see some of the trees are actually losing their leaves and looking pretty shoddy. But it seems that I always get a dry spell every summer, no matter how wet spring was. Spring was extremely wet, but the rain just shut off. And they seem to measure droughts by annual rainfall, so this won't be considered a drought because we got so much. And here's one of those pollinating flies, those types of beneficial flies. They look like a fly, but they don't go after carrion, they go after nectar and pollen. They're supposed to be beneficial. I haven't read about their life cycle, but that's what the chestnut becomes covered in. No bees on the chestnut that I've ever seen, but I don't look that good at it. But these things, they seem to benefit from chestnut blooms. So there's your comparison of Vitex versus the BB tree. But here we go. This BB tree, it just seems to be farther along in bloom, so we'll look at that. It's got bees on it. Not as many as the Vitex, and it's opened up. I see a couple bees up there. Not that many. Anyway, it's a pretty tree. Given a choice, I would certainly plant Vitex over BB. The main reason is that the BB tree will be finished blooming in a week. It only blooms a week or two, and that's it. Whereas the Vitex is going to bloom until the frost, and you see how covered it is. I think there's nothing better than Vitex for bees so far. There are things that come out only for a week or two that are better. One of the best is autumn olive or Russian olive. Now that's like a couple of weeks of serious, sometimes even 3 weeks of serious bee nectar, and right when they really need it. First thing in the spring, early. And oh, it smells so good when it's blooming, and it just covers up with bees. Well, like I told you, these are grocery store black beans, and you can see that they are definitely all coming up really nice. And look what's so neat about them. See how the bean is so beautiful, purple, how the leaves are kind of darkish purple. They're awesome, and I don't have to pay much. The whole bag of beans was only 65 cents. And like I said, I only put a little tiny handful of beans on these two big 130-foot rows, and I was able to still make a pot of beans with them, with the rest. Ooh, look at that. A very unique purplish colored butterfly. Pretty neat looking. Well, I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. I plant in furrows so I can water better. The water seeps down into the bottom of the furrow where I plant. And these are the black diamond watermelons. I had a very bad learning curve on them. I now know that you need to plant watermelons when the soil is really warm. Otherwise they just rot in the soil. So I got a very nice 100% germination, I could almost say. Close to 100%. While planting these once the ambient outdoor temperature was at least 80 every day. Every day. I don't know the soil temperature. I don't have one of those thermometers. But before that, I probably got 3% germination. So I quit. Anyway, this is the only way I found to keep everything out of my garden. Rabbits, deer, things that step on things. Just putting up a fence for a little while. That's what I do. And turn it off when I'm here or during the day, and turn it back on at night. Because sweet potato vines are delicious. People eat them and animals love them. So you got to protect them. So this works. They don't even come in the whole garden. See, the garden is fenced. They jump over. But they don't touch anything because they hear the clicking sound of the solar charger, and they don't know where the lines are, and they're terrified of getting shocked, so they just stay away. Here's the update on this. This is my first time growing loofah, and they're already making little flowers. I'm quite excited about this. I'm getting tomatoes, purple hull peas are coming up. The Malanga's doing really good. See the Malanga, it's just beautiful. I really like that. And here's my 3% germination of watermelon seeds that were black diamond. I've probably got 4 or 5 vines is all on these, but the ones I planted over there in the warm temperatures are going to make up for this loss. And remember, when you grow a garden, you should always make sure your soil is not bare for long. Even if you're not going to harvest a crop, plant something that you know, and if you don't, plant something you know will grow, that even if you don't need it, get it out there on the garden for the sake of not keeping your soil barren. Legumes are awesome because they keep your rhizobia bacteria thriving, and you can always plant, just let weeds grow if you can't plant, but you can always plant something, and if nothing else, just grow weeds for a while and turn them under. Don't let your soil be barren. Well, anyway, the squash, which I save every year, it's got little squashes on it now. I'm so happy to hear that. And a squash plant puts out male flowers and female flowers. Some people eat the male flowers. You can tell the difference. The female flower will always have a fruit behind the flower, and the male flower won't have a fruit, and they can eat those. I don't know how you prepare them, but people do fry them up and make squash flowers. Anyway, I bought all my seeds this year, tomato seeds, except for the ones that I save over myself, like Italian climbing tomato, also known as tree tomato. I save those seeds every year. And a friend gave me some Mats and Coyote wild cherry type tomatoes. I save those every year. But these are Russian, and these are real pretty little bluish ones. I don't know the names. They were all in Russian anyways. But I buy my seeds from something called Nikotowski seeds or something. They're from the Ukraine on eBay, and they're the cheapest seeds you can get. And as I said before, Rare Seeds or Baker Creek seems to be getting their varieties, and oh, they're so much more expensive when you buy from Rare Seeds and you get such a small package. The only difference is Nikotowski seeds or Nikorinsky seeds. You'll know when you look it up if you want. Oh, there's a ripe tomato already. My first tomatoes usually have blossom end rot, but that passes. Yep, blossom end rot. That's blossom end rot from uneven watering, because I just now started watering. The rest of them are going to be fine. Anyway, that Ukrainian seed company sends your seeds in a Ziploc bag. Each pack of seeds is tightly wrapped in a Ziploc baggie so they don't get wet, and they can store in the refrigerator or freezer until you're ready to plant them. Whereas Baker Creek just puts them in a plain paper envelope that they have fancily decorated up so it looks like they're really something. But there's not many seeds in the bottom of that envelope, and they're exposed to humidity, which is really bad for the life of a seed, and you need to get them out of that pack as soon as possible. But what I've seen is anything I can buy at Baker Creek, I can buy from Nikorinsky for a whole lot cheaper. A whole lot cheaper. And they have some kind of shipping deal where it's extremely cheap if you buy a whole bunch of them. You can't expect free shipping from the Ukraine, but it comes with beautiful stamps on the envelope they send. Just a massive amount of really pretty stamps if you're a stamp collector from the Ukraine. Oh, the stamps are beautiful. And the price is only like $1 shipping or $1.50, and the more seeds you buy, they finally, I think, take the shipping off or something. So I get like 5 or 10 packs, and it takes away the shipping somehow. I don't remember. My girlfriend did the ordering. Anyway, also my girlfriend got me these beautiful purple jalapenos. Now look at how purple they are. They're just beautiful, and their blooms are purple. Look at that. I don't know. It's not that I'm crazy about purple. Maybe I am crazy about purple. It seems like everything I like is becoming purple. But my sweet potatoes, they're purple. Purple sweet potatoes. Look at how beautiful those sweet potatoes are. I mean, it's just so pretty. They're really growing nice. They're really starting to grow. If only I could get a good rainstorm, I could really catch on with this. But just look at these beautiful purple jalapenos. Is that not beautiful? I really am happy with these. Oh, and A friend of mine gave me corbachi peppers. Now, look at these babies. They're so productive. Have you ever seen a pepper so productive? And I've already picked them twice. And it's July 1st. And they just bear like crazy. I mean, just look at that. You gotta pick them because they start dragging the ground. They're so long. They're from Turkey, and they call them a frying pepper. Now, to be honest with you, peppers don't have any flavor to me, just heat. So these are completely flavorless because they're completely heatless. If you want a pepper that's more productive than any other pepper I know of, even more than the pepper rossini, which also is flavorless and, in my opinion, kind of ugly looking, this beautiful pepper will beat it in production, beauty, and lack of heat. There's no heat in it. But they say you should eat it when it's red. My problem is, I don't want it to rot and it sits on this ground, and I don't know about letting peppers sit on the ground too long, but I'm going to try to leave them on longer this time. But you know everything's better when it's ripe. So anyway, another thing, these eggplants. I had to get them over the flea beetles, which takes a little spinosad spray from me. There's a Japanese beetle. Now, I put milky spore in the ground, so I probably won't have those next year. These are already bearing, these eggplants. See, they've got those beautiful, beautiful eggplants. They're long, and I got these, of course, from the Ukraine also. It's a real special, very skinny, long variety. And I made a video a week ago of how you can stick any limb from your tomatoes right in the ground and just keep it moist and very little care and it'll root. And here's one of them coming back and rooting. You see it's nice and healthy now. We'll go over here and I'll show you another one. They were badly wilted. See the end messed up. But see, they're back to life. It doesn't matter if they're fruiting ends or what. And these are also some that were cuttings. And now they're doing great. Here's another one that's not looking so good. Don't worry. By next week it'll have new growth all over it. So don't waste your suckers that you break off or accidentally break off while tying your tomatoes up. Stick them in the ground and grow some more tomatoes. It's so easy. There's another one. It's still alive. It looked pretty wilted, but now it's not wilted anymore, which means it's about ready to perk up. Never forget, the new crop that I'm really crazy about now is Malanga. I'm in zone 7, and it gets so cold in the winter. And it freezes most nights for 2 to 3 months every night. The Malanga overwinters better than potatoes under the ground. And then comes back to life on its own, and then I break up the divisions and plant them all over the place. I've got this stuff everywhere. I don't even normally put it in my garden. But look at that. I'm going to start growing a lot more of that. And I would like someone to tell me this. I've been reading on the internet, and that's just regurgitated information usually. Somebody who can truly tell me whether if you plant watermelons, just hybrid watermelons, from the grocery store that you were going to eat and spit the seeds out, can you get good watermelon fruit from that? Because I've done it quite a few years and I've never gotten a good watermelon fruit, but then I'm not a very good watermelon farmer, and this is going to be my first year I ever put any real effort into it. I actually bought seeds of watermelons this year, and I'm going to do some real work on growing them. But do you know if you can actually plant, I mean personally, have you done it? Have you planted any watermelons from the store that were hybrids and had them grow good watermelons and save the seeds from those? That'd be something to know. But I don't have enough subscribers probably to fill in and tell that. I doubt anyone out here has done something like that, because it's not even on the internet. No one's done it on the internet that I know of, because I looked it up. I'm curious, but I'm going to start saving the seeds of these black diamonds because I know they're an heirloom and you can save their seeds constantly as long as you don't plant another type near them. They're going to be true and work out. When you're growing okra, be really careful if you want to keep it pure, because okra seeds can remain dormant in the soil for years and then suddenly come up. I've got Stuart Z Best, and I've grown cowhorn And now my cowhorn, even though I haven't grown cowhorn in 4 years, this cowhorn okra right here has come up. And I got another one coming up. I got to clip them out pretty soon because I don't want it pollinating my Z-best, cross-pollinating and ruining it. To me, Z-best is the best okra there is. I just love it. I'm going to make a video and show you just how big the leaves are and how pretty the fruit is this weekend. It's just beautiful. Probably the best okra there is in this world that I know of, for many reasons. Now the purple hull peas are getting ready to start putting out. Here is what they are doing. See, here's their blooms. They're kind of pretty, and then there's a little tiny purple hull pea starting to form. And they call them purple hull peas because when they become purple on the outside, it's time to pick them. There's 2 varieties of purple hull peas. You can save the seeds from every one of them because I've done it, and they grow just exactly the same every year. But the 2 varieties, one is a very viney variety that just literally was probably grown that way so you can feed your livestock the leaves and vines, because they're extremely nutritious, as all bean vines are, especially kudzu bean vines. They're the best. The kudzu is the biggest and best bean vine for livestock there possibly could be, and it makes a huge root that the Japanese eat, and it's a legume, so it's really good for your soil, and if you mow it, it'll die, so you got to put it where you don't mow. But it the bean plants, there's 2 types of this purple hull pea. One is so viney, the other type is this, which I'm doing now. And it's a very short variety called Quick Pick, and it's tiny, but the thing is, it doesn't put out a whole lot of vines, and I like that because a lot of things I grow here, they just vine like crazy and they don't put any fruit. One was the lima beans. Every type of lima bean I've tried, I haven't tried the bush types yet though, but they just put out literally 10 to 15 feet of vines and no beans. No beans. I'm thinking it's the photo period here in Zone 7. The amount of sunlight is wrong for them to flower, because they don't flower and they don't put out any bean. They just keep growing. Anyway, these quick crops, quick pick, purple hull peas are now my favorite because all they do is just put out about a foot tall and then start putting out beans. Well, they call them peas, but they're actually a bean, an African bean. So these are awesome. I would so much say that the quick pick is what you want. And yeah, you can save the seeds every year because that's what I'm doing. I'm saving the seeds and they're already bearing like mad, and I love them. And you should save the seeds of everything you get, even the hybrid stuff. Because there's a guy named Alan Kapuler, and he saves hybrid seeds, and they call him the untangler because he literally starts saving the hybrid seeds and basically untangles the plants that were put into them to make them the hybrid by growing them out and selecting traits of the parents that were put into the hybrid. And then he has the base land race plants that were there. It's pretty cool. You can do that too. Be like Alan Kapuler. Just plant your seeds and save your seeds. It's so important to diversity, to grow as many things as you can. Diversity is so good for nature. Don't let them tell you it isn't. Everything new is good. I mean, plant lots of stuff in your garden. Don't be limited. That way when you have a failure, it's small. It doesn't impact you. Plus, we know about companion planting. It's really something else. I've got so many different kinds of wildlife that live in here, so many varieties of lizards, so many pests. I mean, I even love the bugs. I love them. All of them. They have a use. They all might have some problems, but they've all got a purpose. And yeah, I had a real problem with flea beetles here on eggplants, but once they get about this size, the flea beetles don't even want them anymore. The leaf changes and puts something in it that they don't like the taste of, and they leave it alone. Only when they're young and tender do they have problems with the flea beetle. And just look at these. Oh man, they put out these most beautiful purple flowers. Let me show you what they look like. Oh, it's too late. They're in the morning glory family, and it's not morning anymore. There's a flower. Oh man. Come on, flowers. Come on, show yourselves. Anyway, they're morning glories. It's what they really are. Flowers. And I guess they can make seeds too. And these purple tubers are the sweet potato. All it is a swollen root. The roots just swell up and store. So anywhere they make roots, they make sweet potatoes. And you can bury a vine and it'll make a root. And then there'll be a sweet potato there if you keep the soil moist in that area and feed it well. Sweet potatoes don't like poor soil. Sweet potatoes need to be fed. They need the richest soil you can get. They are the most nutritious fruit, or the nutritious root or vegetable that there is on earth. The most nutritious of all is the sweet potato. The most nutritious nut or seed or grain is the hemp seed or cannabis seed. So you need to grow sweet potatoes for sure. And one day we can grow hemp and make hemp milk and stuff like that, I think. Not really sure when that's going to be though. But right now, sweet potatoes, that's what we've got. So we stick with whatever we want to grow. You just stick with it and save the seeds year after year, and it keeps getting better and better and better. You know what you like. I love purple sweet potatoes. They're the most nutritious thing, and I like growing them. I don't grow anything else but purple sweet potato. I don't grow the orange, the white, or anything. These are the best. I don't know what else I can tell you about. Here I made a cylinder to grow these sunshine blue tomatoes, and they are thriving. They're really starting to do well. And here's a sad story. I've always wanted to grow shallots. I have tried year after year after year to grow shallots. They just don't like my climate. These lamented ever since I planted them in this spring. And now look at them. I replanted them out here in hopes that they would do better, and all they're doing is rotting away. I can't grow shallots where I live. I don't know anyone that is. So I wanted so badly to have an onion that would just keep growing from bulbs and just keep spreading and save them. And I worked so hard trying to do it all these years. But if I don't get them out of the ground by summer, they rot away real quickly and they don't come back next year. And if I plant them over winter, they don't grow. It's too cold. They just sit there and sleep. And then if the spring is too wet, they just mildew. I can't do anything with them. I wish I could find a shallot that would grow. I've tried a lot of varieties. I've tried the gray grizel. I've tried the red, French red. I've tried the, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I've tried everything out there. Well, thank you for the video watching. Please comment.